Hello dear students, welcome to Bachao Edutech. I am Mrs. Archana Zadhav. From today we are going to start the study of English. Children, you must have seen your English textbook. Your textbook is divided into 4 units and each unit carries 2 poems and 2 to 3 lessons. So in today's English lecture, we are going to start the first poem from your text, Life by Charlotte Bronte. So let's begin with the warming up section of the poem. There are many popular lines like Life is a game, play it well. Life is a journey, keep going ahead. Now discuss and write down a few such metaphorical lines about life. You can make them up yourself. Now children, here you remember you can make use of such metaphorical lines in your writing skills, especially while writing the expansion of ideas or speech writing. So these lines will always help you there. Now we are going to see how you can form our own metaphorical lines about the life. So before we read those metaphorical lines, let me tell you what is metaphor, because the poem itself is an example of a metaphor. So metaphor is when there is a comparison between two, when there is an indirect comparison between two things because of some common common quality in them. The figure of speech is called metaphor. So metaphor is an implicit comparison between two things. See the first example. Life is like a flower, colorful, fragrant, even after the flower fades away. Second, life is like a keyboard, because if you press the right keys, you have typed a good destiny. Life is like a seed. It will never grow unless planted and nourished. Next, life is an echo. What you sent out, you get back. So here, life is implicitly compared with an echo. Last comparison. Life is a seesaw, sometimes up, sometimes down. Now see the second question. Prepare as many acrostics using the word life as you can. Two examples are given below. So while writing acrostic, you remember that for whatever word we are writing acrostic, all the words that we are writing should be related to the given word. So here we are writing an acrostic for the word life. Two examples are already given in your textbook. Two examples I am giving you here. First one is L for love, I for inspiration, F for friendship, E for enjoyment. Next, L for lessons, I for interest, F for fulfillment, and E for eternal. Now question number 3. Listen carefully and write the word in the appropriate column. Here you have been given some words and you are asked to classify them in two columns, positive feelings and negative feelings. So I have directly mentioned them in two columns. The words that will come under positive feelings are hopeful, excited, happy, surprised, loving, cheerful, comfortable, peaceful, enthusiastic, motivated, inspired. The words which will come under negative feelings are lonely, jealous, shy, proud, anxious, nervous, embarrassed, scared, silly, depressed, angry, threatened, and crushed. Try to remember these words, they will help to improve your vocabulary. Next question. Note that it is possible to feel both kinds of emotions at the same time. Have you experienced it? So sometimes we experience two different kinds of emotions at the same time. If you have experienced it, you are asked to describe the situation in short. Here I have given the answer. Yes, I have experienced it. Once I stood first in class and got excellent marks in science and maths. At that time, I was feeling proud as well as happy for my achievement. Here I have mentioned two feelings, the feeling of proud and happiness. Now, here I have tried to mention some important points about the poem. The first point is this is a motivating and optimistic poem which encourages us to take a positive view of life. So, this is motivating and optimistic poem. It reflects poetess attitude to look at the life in a positive way. Second point. The poetess Charlotte Bronte describes that life comes with bad times followed by good times. So there are always ups and downs in our life. Sometimes we have to suffer from bad times, and sometimes, but whenever we suffer from bad times, we should always remember that this bad time will be followed by good time. So bad things of life are transient. Transient means not short lived. They do not remain like that for a long period. They are short lived. So bad things of life are transient, like a brief spell of rain. They do not remain permanent, and good things invariably follow them. Next point is the poem conveys personal thoughts of the poetess about life. So the poem is or the poem tries to express the personal thoughts of the poetess about the life. If you see the poem carefully, you will find that the poem is divided into three stanzas. The first stanza consists of 8 lines. The second stanza consists of 4 lines. And the last stanza consists of 12 lines. So let's begin with the poem. Life, believe, is not a dream so dark as sages say. Oft a little morning wren foretells a pleasant day. Now the poet begins the poem with the word life, which is the title of the poem. And because of this, we can say that it emphasizes the word life, emphasizes the fact that the poem is all about the life. From the very first word of the first line of the poem, we come to know that the poem is about the life. According to the poet, we should believe that life is not a dream so dark as sages say. Now, this is the opinion of the poetess. Now, as she looks at the life positively, so she says that we should not believe that life is not a dream so dark as sages say. Now, for her, life is beautiful. It means the life is not as bad as the most of the people believe and say. Often, little morning wren foretells a pleasant day. Oft means often. So, here the poetess makes use of metaphor. So, if we have difficulties at some stage, so here little morning symbolizes sorrow, despair, difficulties. So, if we have difficulties at some stage, there will be joyous times following it. And as the poetess says, often a little morning foretells means forecasts a pleasant day, so that difficulties will be followed by a joyous time. So here difficulties are compared implicitly to rain and joyous times to a pleasant day. The term morning rain is a metaphor here I have already mentioned, which symbolizes sorrow and despair. The line means that despair is often a way to joy, and happiness like morning rain, which leads to a pleasant day. Sometimes there are clouds of gloom, but these are transient all. Gloom means sadness, and transient means remaining only for a brief time. If the shower will make the roses bloom, oh, why lament its fall? Now, in this line, lament means an expression of grief. Now, the poetess says, sometimes there are clouds of gloom. So, here again, the poetess makes use of metaphor. Sometimes there are problems. Here, clouds symbolize problems in our life. So, problems are implicitly compared to the clouds of gloom. But these are transient all, but these are not permanent. They remain only for a brief time, which means there are sorrows and griefs in the life of every human being, but they are not permanent. If the shower will make the roses bloom, oh, why lament its fall? So, in the last line of this stanza, the poetess asks the question which is called a rhetorical question. So, here, if you are asked to change this rhetorical question into assertive sentence, its assertive sentence will be, we should not lament its fall. So, here the poetess wants to say that these sad moments, these difficulties in our life are not permanent, they are always temporary and short lived. The problems we face will make for better times ahead. Problems are compared to the showers of rain, and better times are compared to the roses blooming. So, try to understand the use of metaphor. Next stanza, second stanza. Rapidly, merrily, life's sunny hours flit by. Gratefully, cheerily, enjoy them as they fly. Now, second stanza consists of only these four lines. And according to the poet, life's sunny hours flit by, which means life is moving ahead very fast. Sunny hours means happy moments in our life. And the poetess says, thus, instead of lamenting the sorrows and griefs, one should gratefully, cheerily enjoy those fast flying happy moments of our life. Now, here the speaker is promoting a way of living in which one appreciates and enjoys each hour that passes. Instead of lamenting on the sorrows and difficulties in our life, we should try to enjoy each and every moment of our life. What though death at times steps in and calls our best away? What though sorrow seems to win over hope a heavy sway? Now, the final stanza is the longest of this poem, and it conquers the more daunting part of life, that is death. The first two complete sentences of this stanza are questions in which the speaker is basically asking, so what if death at time steps in? So what if sorrow seems to win? So these are the rhetorical questions. So if we change these rhetorical questions into assertive sentence, we can say that if death at times takes away the people we love most, we must accept it and hope for better time. So it doesn't matter even though death at times steps in. Second rhetorical question: what though sorrow seems to win over hope a heavy sway? It, it means it does not matter if we are overcome by sorrow and hope seems to be far away. So these are the temporary things. So what if sorrow seems to win? These things are temporary. Here the speaker is acknowledging exist, but she is not allowing them to sway her or influence her. So she says we must accept it if at times death takes away the people we love most. It does not matter if sorrow seems to be winning over hope. Yet hope again, elastic springs, unconquered, though she fell. Still buoyant are her golden wings, still strong to bear us well. Now, though the death may take away our life during our best time, that is the most enjoyable time, or the sorrows take over our hope, we should never lose the will and the determination, because hope has elastic springs. And even though she fell in sorrow, she says that she will bounce back up again in hope. Her golden wings of hope are still strong and buoyant. Now, here the wings are called golden. Now, golden is the color of optimism. The wings of hope are golden because hope helps us bear up with our problems and suppress despair. That's why she calls the hopes of that's why she calls her the wings as the golden wings of hope. And she says that her golden wings of hope are still strong and buoyant. Now, here, buoyant means that which can rise upward and will. So, let's begin with the poem. Life, believe, is not a dream so dark as sages say. Oft a little morning wren foretells a pleasant day. Now the poet begins the poem with the word life, which is the title of the poem. And because of this, we can say that it emphasizes the word life emphasizes the fact that the poem is all about the life. From the very first word of the first line of the poem, we come to know that the poem is about the life. According to the poet, we should believe that life is not a dream so dark as sages say. Now, this is the opinion of the poetess. Now, as she looks at the life positively, so she says that we should not believe and fearless. And on the day of judgment, as believed in Christianity, the day of trial means the day of judgment. Her courage will make her victorious. Thus, the poem ends with a strong will, hope, and determination that good will ultimately come to her. In this stanza, the poetess becomes optimistic about being courageous even after her death. No despair can quell means end or suppress the victory one feels when holding on to hope. Nothing can touch it, not even death. So that is what the poem gives us the message, that at the time of difficulties, whenever we have to face sorrow and grief in our life, we should not be discouraged by it. On the other hand, we should always have a hope for a good time that that always for that always comes after the bad times, and we should face all the situations in our life bravely and fearlessly. Now, children, here we are going to stop. In our next lecture, we will discuss the margin questions and English workshop of the poem. Thank you.